This video is covered by fair use.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Stupid Slayer, where I eventually get motivated enough to make a video and you get to listen to me spout off into a microphone about some shit you didn't know you cared about. Apologies if you can hear lawnmowers and stuff going on in the background. Despite the fact that I live in a tiny little village in the middle of nowhere, you still can't get 10 minutes fucking peace and quiet to make a video around here. So we'll just get on with it regardless, and today we're going to talk about Lauren Southern and Patreon taking down her account. Now, for anybody that's not familiar with it, because they've been in space for the last few weeks, what basically happened was Lauren Southern did something which upset the guys at Patreon, and over there, Jack, whatever his balls is, and the rest of the team took down her account over it. Now, what ensued was Armageddon on the internet as usual when these things happen, with half of the internet calling him a cuck and an ideologue and whatever else, and the other half defending him, and then people shouting about free speech and the usual shit. Eventually Jack, whatever his balls is, decided that what he needed to do was to make a video explaining it. I think he won the Rubin Report as well. So we're going to have a look at what he said, and then I'm going to tell you what I think about it.
Hi everyone, so I want to do something a little unusual and make a video outlining Patreon's reasoning for taking down a creator's page. I found that tech companies are usually pretty disengaged from their communities when it comes to content policy and discussing takedowns.
The reason for that is because most of them apply it unfairly in a biased manner to support their own political and ideological means. That's why they don't engage with creators.
I've always wished that tech companies would just tell folks what the heck is going on, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I just want to say that there are trade-offs of the transparency that you're about to hear from me and from Patreon. A ton of people are going to be angry about this video. A lot of people are just going to try and find holes in our logic. We're going to start a conversation that a lot of tech companies would just want to completely avoid, but we're putting all that stuff aside for now, because at this point in time, it's much more important to explain to creators why we do what we do. So to recap, Patreon recently took down the pages of all the members of Defend Europe, including Lauren Southern's page, and we also took down the IGD News page as well. Some people are really upset about this. Some people have even accused Patreon of making decisions based on political ideology, so I'd like to clear all that up right now. Content policy and the decision to remove a creator page has absolutely nothing to do with politics and ideology, and has everything to do with a concept called manifest observable behavior. The purpose of using manifest observable behavior is to remove personal values and beliefs when the team is reviewing content. It's a review method that's entirely based on observable facts. What has a camera seen? What has an audio device recorded? It doesn't matter what your intentions are, your motivations, who you are, your identity, your ideology. The trust and safety team only looks at manifest observable behavior.
Well, that all sounds awesome, Jack. All except the slogan. I mean, manifest observable behaviour. It just sounds like you paid an awful lot of money to some overpriced twats in suits to sit in an office and do a brainstorming session to come up with a fancy way of saying judging people by their actions. Because that's all it is. It's just judging people by their actions.
Get rigorous and specific because we're talking about removing a person's income. The authority to take away a human being's income is a sobering responsibility. It is not something to be done on a whim, and as a creator myself, I've had videos taken down. I always want Patreon to put creators first. The reason Patreon exists is to give creators power and income, to give creators a voice, a seat at the table.
In the process of this though, Jack, You've given yourself an awful lot of power, and really a seat at the head of the table.
We're super creator first in everything we do. Like, we give creators their patrons' email addresses. Can you imagine if Facebook or YouTube gave you your fans' email addresses? It just doesn't happen. And we don't just say that, we do it. It's our culture. It's how we operate. It's in every line of code and every product that we build and every decision that we make at the company.
Okay, great. But wait, what? I'm not sure what that's got to do with anything, or even with each other, to be perfectly honest. It just seems like you put a load of bits of sentences together and then spewed them out into a video record.
So along those lines, the purpose of this video is not to bash Lauren or any other creator. She herself was upset that we didn't give her the evidence that we used to make this decision.
That should take some pretty incredible evidence behind it, shouldn't it? But what did you provide as evidence? Absolutely nothing.
So the purpose of this video is to just clarify that confusion, offer up that evidence, and explain to our creator community how we make these sorts of big decisions. So here we go. Here's how we made the decision to remove the pages of the members of Defend Europe. From a high level, we removed their pages because they directly obstructed a search and rescue ship in the Mediterranean. And they made a variety of statements and outlined plans to obstruct similar rescue ships in the future. And that's a violation of a section of our content policy that prohibits creators from threatening to take or from taking action that could lead to harm or loss of life. In a video that she made after Patreon removed her page, Lauren says that she was not involved in Defend Europe's mission.
I assume that you guys are talking about the Defend Europe mission, a mission that, firstly, I am not actually taking part in.
Questions like, is Lauren Southern an activist or is she a journalist? Is she a member of Defend Europe or is she not a member of Defend Europe? Those sorts of binary questions, turns out they just matter less than manifest observable behavior. You can't use manifest observable behavior to say who someone is. That's just a more nebulous claim. You can use manifest observable behavior to say what someone did or didn't do and whether or not those things are or are not against your content policy.
I was planning on joining them on the boat initially just to record everything.
She said she was just on the boat to record the experience, and we don't believe that. Here's a clip of her on a boat telling the boat operator where to go to cut off an NGO vessel.
Quick, get in front, Thomas!
In front of the boat?
Yes, in front of the boat! Go fast!
And here she says it again.
Quick, get in front! Get in front!
We believe that she was not only participating in the mission, but at times she was actively directing the operation. Again, she's instructing the boat operator to get in front of a rescue ship.
Get in front, Thomas! Get in front! Thomas, go!
No, it's too dangerous. We can't go in front. Get right in front.
They have to stop. We gotta go in front of the boat!
These are examples of manifest observable behavior, actions that a camera and audio recorder can see and hear. Here she is literally detailing her intention to stop this rescue boat.
So this is a boat called the Aquarius that has been illegally bringing in migrants from the Libyan Ocean for the last while. And they're just heading out again to bring in more illegal migrants, and we are going to stop them.
And now we reached my problem with this. You see, he says they're rescue vessels. She says that they're illegally bringing in immigrants. Who's correct? Well, they both are, because they're being used as rescue vessels to bring illegal immigrants to Europe. These people have put themselves in danger by their own choice to get in a boat to try and illegally enter a country. So, in effect, what these boats are doing is, at the very least, aiding and abetting a crime. Now, also, nothing in that clip tells us whether there were actual people on the boat that had been rescued. In fact, she states that they're going out to try and collect more illegal immigrants. So it seems to me a little bit more like they were trying to stop the boat leaving port rather than stopping a boat with possibly injured or sick people on it, as I've heard arguments put across.
Here she is saying that the NGO vessel will have to stop by law if they're in front of it.
In front of the boat, they have to stop legally.
And here she is saying that the NGO vessel has stopped.
It's stopping, they're slowing down.
So what are these ships doing? Who is Lauren stopping and why is that bad? They are search and rescue ships that save people attempting to cross the oceans to Europe.
Illegally though, Jack. I mean, you might not care how many people come to the continent of Europe illegally for their own personal gain, but I live in Europe, so I kind of do, mate. And you call these people NGOs. Now, let's just analyse what an NGO is. It's a non-governmental organisation. And that simply means it's an organisation not run by a government, which means it can be run by anybody. Anybody with any ideology, any political bent, people that don't have anything to do with Italy, the country that they're actually taking these people to, So the way that you're using the phrase NGO to try and give them some sort of legitimacy is in fact just propaganda. In fact, we could just as easily say that these Defend Europe people are in fact an NGO. They are a non-governmental organisation who have a mission, the same as the people who are taking boats out into the middle of the Mediterranean to rescue people who have put themselves there by their own choice and bring them illegally to the shores of Europe. They don't take them back where they came from, they bring them to where they were going, illegally.
Do you remember this photo from 2015? It's the image of Alan Kurdi, a child who drowned in the Mediterranean after his family's ship capsized in the ocean. Last year, 5,000 people like that child died in the Mediterranean.
And the people responsible for that little boy's death are his parents, who put him in that fucking boat and took him out to sea in conditions that weren't suitable for it to try and illegally enter another country. And guess what? The people who are responsible for those 5,000 deaths are those people who made that decision, and sometimes, like these other scumbags that you've spoken about earlier, made that decision for their small children.
And the NGO ships, like the Aquarius,
So this is a boat called the Aquarius.
are a response to the horrific events like the drowning of that child. These are images of Aquarius' search and rescue operation saving people at sea. And you can visit their website to learn more about Aquarius' operation here. And those are the type of search and rescue vessels that Lauren Southern directed that boat operator to obstruct in the clip that you just saw.
You gotta go in front of the boat.
And what you've just shown us there are thousands of examples of that ship being used to break the law and enter a country illegally, mostly by economic migrants. It is a proven fact that the vast majority of people making that crossing, and in fact the vast majority of people trying to enter Europe, are economic migrants. Very, very few of them come from Syria or other war-torn countries. They are wanting a better life. They put their lives in danger because they think there's monetary gain at the end of it, and for no other reason. You then basically showed us an advert for their website where they solicit donations to carry on breaking the law. You see, you've shown your ideological bent on this by the way that you've analysed what's happened. Your observable behaviour is observed from a biased position, and that's why it's bullshit. You have decided that what she did was a bad thing because of your ideological position on allowing refugees to just mass migrate to Europe, because it doesn't fucking affect you, does it? And then you have decided that she shouldn't be allowed on your platform. And I'm not saying that's not your right to do. It's your platform. I'm not even saying that it's a stretch to make this covered by your terms of service. I think that your terms of service are just as widely written so that you can encompass anything that you do or don't want to in them, as all of the other social media companies. Facebook's the same, YouTube, Twitter. You have these rules and then you just apply them as you feel appropriate, which is totally your right to do. As I said, your platform. But don't then come out and try to justify what you've done and say that there's nothing to do with politics involved in it, because there clearly is. And you don't even seem to realise that there's politics involved in it. You seem to just think that you can tell us exactly that there is politics involved in it and then say there isn't politics involved in it.
The Defend Europe website now says that they don't intend to obstruct rescue vessels. But if you just watch those videos and Lauren's videos that she posted weeks and months ago, it's clear that they did stop and intended to keep stopping boats like that in the future.
If the politicians won't stop the boats, we'll stop the boats.
In an interview with Big League Politics, she said that she would continue those actions by getting more boats. And the team made good on that promise to get another boat. Lauren and the rest of the Defend Europe team successfully raised funds to buy another boat and continue operating.
The Sea Star is a massive massive freaking boat. Like, I'm going to put a picture up here for people to see, but it's definitely an improvement from the little dinghy we were on before.
Our content policy also distinguishes between what we call credible threats and non-credible threats. So when Lauren says,
If the politicians won't stop the boats, we'll stop the boats.
we ask ourselves, is this a credible or a non-credible statement? So let's look at the manifest observable behavior. She and a crew successfully stopped a rescue boat in the Mediterranean.
Rescuing people who had purposely put their lives in danger and then taking them the rest of the way on their journey and enabling them to illegally enter a country.
It's stopping, they're slowing down.
As a part of that mission, she directed the boat operator precisely where to go to stop the vessel.
You gotta go in front of the boat.
She told the press she planned to do it again, and she helped a team successfully raise money to purchase a bigger boat.
And at the end, we said we were going to go out and we were going to do this again. We were going to find a better way to stop these migrant boats and to stop this illegal trafficking. And we've done just that with your help.
And then they purchased a bigger boat. The Trust and Safety team and the Patreon executive team reviewed this overwhelming body of evidence and manifest observable behavior. Our conclusion was that their actions, if they continued to do what they were doing, were likely to inhibit rescue operations and potentially lead to people dying in the oceans.
And then you decided that despite the fact that those people had put themselves in danger through their own decisions and actions directly, that they, in some way, had a right to be rescued from their own stupidity and greed, and then they should be helped to continue on their way to break into another country. And thus you took a political decision that they had a right to do that, and that you thought that they should be rescued and they should be helped to break that law. I wonder, where do you think laws should be starting to apply, Jack? Would it possibly somewhere around your nose where it starts to affect you? Do you think that's where they might start to need to be enforced, Jack? And it's totally your right to suspend her count because that is your view on that situation. And I don't think it's necessarily an unreasonable view. Some people might die because those ships don't rescue them. Anyway, I'm not going to put any more of the video up because he just goes over and over the same stuff and restates it and redoes it and just basically convinces everybody that it was a completely political decision because of his political stance on these migrants. But he still has the right to do what he's done, and she is in breach of the terms and service because the terms and services are written the way the terms and service are always written. Now, she also was inhibiting somebody committing a crime. Now, I personally wouldn't have a problem with these vessels in any way, shape or form if they picked these people up and then took them back to where they'd come from. But they don't. They bring them back to the shores of Europe and thus lumber them on the doorstep, and we have to deal with them at that point, and very, very, very few ever go back, whether they are granted leave to stay or otherwise. Again, it's very well documented that not very many of these people ever return to where they've come from. They stay in Europe, they do not go anywhere, and they cost our societies money, as well as all the other cultural problems that have come along with these people who've come from these faraway places that don't really share our values. But that's all aside. Short of the short, he was perfectly allowed to take her down. He didn't do anything wrong, but it was a completely political decision. That's my view on the subject. Please feel free to comment in the bottom if you agree, disagree, whatever you want to tell me. Please like and share the video because nobody watches them. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.
What are you doing in a baseball bat? I can't get you. Why are you doing that?